Hi, welcome to Our Favorite Fighters, podcast for UFC 326, Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. My name is Connor.
This is Evan.
Thank you for joining us. Uh, this is a uh, interesting kind of fight because it is a fight for the BMF uh, belt, a kind of secondary belt that the UFC kind of has. It's been moving around, switching weight classes for a while now. Um, But outside of that fight, there's still a bunch of interesting fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go through that. We have one fight to talk about on the prelims, and then we'll go into the main card. But before we go on to that, we have a little bit of news that popped up just yesterday, I believe. Um, Still reportedly, it's not officially confirmed, but Alex Padilla is moving up to heavyweight. What are your thoughts on Alex moving up another weight class?
Yeah. Crazy to think Alex used to fight at middleweight, right? How in the hell did
Abs-
he make that weight? Um,
Absolutely.
but I mean, everyone's been talking about him moving up to heavyweight for quite a while now, and he seems apt to me. You know what I mean? Seems fine. I don't have any issues with it. I think that, he's Alex is getting a little bit towards the end of his career here, age-wise and experience-wise, and he's been through it. Why not give it a shot to go to heavyweight at this point? He's got really nothing to lose. He's definitely been champ twice now at light heavyweight. So, yeah, why not see what happens? In my opinion, should be cool. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
What about you? Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, it's a little weird seeing him move up again. I think the move
Yeah,
from middleweight to lightweight was definitely more of a he wanted to not have to cut so hard. This one
yeah,
definitely feels a little more like he's bulking up to get to heavyweight. Um, from what we've seen of pictures of him in his training camp, if you want to call it training camp, he's not really in camp right now. Um,
yeah,
he looks big, and it looks like a good, like, kind of healthy bulk.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, it looks like
I agree.
he's getting ready. It looks like he's seemingly pretty ready from what we're seeing. Um, I think he'll be do. I think he'll be okay. I think he's a good enough striker where he can hang in heavyweight. And I mean his most powerful thing is his counterpunch, and I don't think that's going to really change going to heavyweight. In fact, he's probably honestly going to have less people trying to grapple him, so it's probably more advantageous for him.
That's the thing, dude. I think that's bang on analysis. I think that Alex's competition won't change. I mean, it'll change obviously be in the sense that he'll be fighting heavyweights, but it won't change really in the sense that these guys won't be grapplers up at heavyweight either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to match him up with Curtis Blades for sure.
No.
So, or Tom Aspinall, I think that he's going to go against probably someone, and we'll talk about who in a second here, but probably someone who's not going to really test him in a swarmy, grapply takedown heavy way. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think his striking will still be crisp and powerful and dangerous at heavyweight. Um, Same thing when you look at Ilya moving up to lightweight. Um, the power carries sometimes, and I think his power will
Mm-hmm.
definitely carry. Um, be strong enough to cause serious problems at heavyweight. So
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean,
on
you
that
could
note,
compare it to like Islam, right? Islam moved up to welterweight and his strength was still there. We didn't really see his power
yeah.
because he didn't fight like strike so much against
Mhm.
um I forget his name, but yeah.
Medium, yeah.
Yeah, JDM, sorry, yep, against JDM. But I mean he's like the strength was still there, and so with the strength you assume is the power. Either
Yeah.
way, you were talking about it a little bit. Who do you think Alex is gonna
Who's he gonna fight?
fight in his first fight in heavyweight?
Shittiest possible outcome, but it might be Cyril Gahn, dude. I think that that's probably the most messed up outcome you could get, but
Really?
I feel like, in the sense that Cyril Gahn injured the champ
Oh.
and now he's fighting for a belt. I mean, that's so backwards.
Yeah.
But Tom Aspinall's eyes are not okay still. He just had double eye surgery. He's still recovering. He can't see his phone and blah blah blah. Can't drive.
Yeah.
Tom Aspinall can't fight yet. Not his
Yep.
fault. Who else do you put in
Nope.
there? Who else is there?
Yeah,
Seriously,
I mean
I don't know.
it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. Curtis Blades also just
Let's
got a
see.
fight announced. Do Alexander Volkov? I don't know. I feel like Cyril Gahn is the most obviously, you know,
So
gouging out the
stupid, man.
champion's eyes is not a great look for for a challenger, but
Yeah.
Cyril Gahn really is the most like he deserves to be fighting for the interim
Yeah.
belt if we're gonna do that. Just resume, skill wise, like
Track record wise, yeah, I guess so.
yeah. I think you could give Volkov that fight. Do Volkov versus Alex. Because I think the biggest thing is Alex is gonna fight for a belt. They're not gonna throw him up and be like, you're gonna
No,
get
yeah,
one fight against
100%.
like, you know, you're gonna fight, I don't know, Derek
Yeah.
Lewis, right? You know, they're gonna be like throw him a random top 10 guy. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I kind of like that idea a little bit more with Volkov. I mean,
Mhm.
Volkov has so many wins
Yeah,
lately. I mean, win after win after win after win after win after win against really great guys. The only thing that's glaring is that obviously he lost to Cyril Gahn
yeah,
2 fights ago, and that was all the way back in December 2024. But that kind of is a little bit
yeah,
screwy. But the whole thing is screwy. So whatever.
yeah. That was now remembering it. That wasn't that the fight where like Cyril Gahn like broke his foot or something like that, and then everyone was thinking Volkov should have won that fight, but Cyril won it somehow. Yeah, that was
Oh
a weird.
yeah, wasn't that one? Yeah,
That
that's
was a
true.
yeah because I think I remember in his like
Volkov.
victory speech, Cyril Gahn even like apologized. Like I don't even know what happened. That was a
I
weird
remember
one.
that now.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
screw it. Give it to
not a
Volkov.
bad
I
loss for
changed my mind.
Volkov.
I
Yeah.
changed my mind. Give it to Volkov. That's the fight.
I'm with.
I
Hey,
love
I'm
it.
with you. I want to see Volkov in that fight. That'd be fun. Plus, yeah, I feel like if you're UFC, you kind of gotta, even though it's not 100% his fault, you kind of gotta punish Cyril for that because that's really bad eye pokes.
They punished. They punished way lesser infractions far more severely. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Look at
I
Arman
mean,
Sarukian. Look at whoever you want to look at. I mean,
yeah. How about this? We'll move on to talking about someone that the UFC is I think severely punished in talking about Alex moving up. We have his vacant belt at light heavyweight. Matchup is already
yeah, yeah.
planned. Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg. What are your thoughts on that fight for the vacant light heavyweight belt?
Are you thinking it should be Ankh?
I mean, he was champ and only just lost to Alex, right? You feel like he
Yeah,
hasn't fought since. He probably deserves that shot.
he probably deserves that shot.
You
I
know?
have a hard. I don't want to see him fight as much, but I have a hard time disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty impossible to argue that he doesn't. He
He
doesn't
lost
deserve
by
that
decision. Like
to the champ.
he
Well,
yeah, to the yeah, he
yeah,
was the champ. He lost, he beat Alex and then lost to Alex. Um yeah, you really think he probably should get the
got knocked
shot?
out by Alex.
Oh, he did.
Right?
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. He
Yeah,
did get knocked out by Alex. Never mind. That does change things. That does change things.
but
Um,
still, no, I hear you.
yeah,
I mean, though, it's just the way it's gonna go. They're gonna make him get another win before he gets in there, in my opinion. But
yeah,
as for
absolutely.
this potential matchup,
Yeah. How about these
Yuri
two
versus
guys?
Carlos, what's up?
How about these two guys? How do you think
I
these
think this will
guys
be
are?
fun, dude.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. I mean, Carlos
Mm-hmm.
is such a naturally, um, naturally genetically gifted guy at this weight class.
Yeah.
He's about as big and athletic as you can be at to weigh in at 205,
Mm-hmm.
and has a lot of momentum behind him, all the momentum in the world basically. And Yuri is just
Yeah.
like Yuri's Yuri, so
He's just there. He's just
it'll
there.
be a fun collision for sure. I'm leaning
Absolutely.
towards Yuri in this matchup. If this is the way they want to go, I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
leaning towards Yuri a little bit. Carlos has just never fought anyone like. I mean, no one's fought anyone like Yuri until you fight him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the starching ability. I don't believe that Alex has. I mean, he definitely has a
Mm-hmm.
lot of power for sure. I don't want
Yeah.
to discount that, but I don't think he has the otherworldly capabilities that Alex Pereira has. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to have an answer to Yuri's insanity. I view Carlos Ulberg as a little bit more of a textbook type of fighter, and he might get a little bit thrown off by the inhuman nature of Yuri.
Yeah. The unorthodox style.
Yeah, but I'm excited to watch it either way. I'm very
Absolutely.
excited if this is what happens. These guys are both really fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I think it's exciting for Carlos getting his first chance to get the belt. And I mean, it's just Yuri's just one of those fighters that you just love to root for.
Oh hell
So
yeah!
seeing him get another shot at the belt, it's just like, yep, he deserves it. He deserves it. He's fun. He works really hard. Like, can't can't really
Oh yeah,
blame him on
gotta
that
love it.
shot. Yeah, I'm
Oh, they
still
do
still
have.
in the corner. I think if you're going pure merit, I think you should have thrown Ankh in there. But I think uh, the promotion really is not a big fan of Ankalaev, and the promotion is a very big fan of Carlos Ulberg. So I think that
Absolutely,
kind
they
of makes
are.
sense. And
Absolutely,
I
they are.
yeah, and I do think Carlos
They
versus
should.
Yuri is just a more exciting fight.
It's a more exciting fight. It
Yeah,
really, really is. And they should be a fan of Carlos Ulberg. He's
yeah,
a fun guy. He's a great looking guy. He's super marketable.
hmm
Um, and he's got some great wins. You know what I mean? They've
oh
been
yeah,
testing him. It's one of those guys that they continuously like will test and climb the ladder
hmm
with, like Patty.
yep,
Like here's your next challenge. If you can do this one, and he's
right,
knocking, he's knocked down the dominoes every step of the way. So,
absolutely,
you know what I mean? They have every reason to
yep,
keep putting their faith into him. Um, they do have odds released for this, and that's kind of what I would have thought. It's actually a little
okay.
bit closer than I would have thought. Do you have a guess?
Uh, I'm thinking probably like 250 to 300 in favor of Yuri.
That's kind of what I would have thought. I would have thought it
Yeah,
would have been like a minus 200, minus 250 for
yeah,
Yuri. It's actually minus 142 for Yuri, plus
okay,
120 Carlos.
yeah,
So it's actually much closer on the odds than I would have thought.
absolutely.
But just released, I think. So maybe these will change a bit as we come a little
I think
closer to
so.
the fight. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably just starting people doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to this weekend's upcoming fights for UFC
Yeah.
326. Yeah, in the prelims, we only got one fight, just one fighter that we kind of like to keep our eye on.
Yeah.
Cody Garbrandt is fighting Long Xiao. What are your thoughts on
Yes.
Cody?
I had many thoughts on Cody, and I got a little I got a little feedback in the comments last time I talked about Cody. That's
Always.
okay. It comes from a place of love, is what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, man. I'm not trying to write him off. I'm not trying to write him off and say that he's being sent off to his doom necessarily. I'm rooting for Cody, and I pretty much am always rooting for Cody. But he's fighting a much younger guy. All the ingredients are there for him to kind of fall into a bit of a collapse career wise in the sense that his chin is proven to be a little bit faulty, more than a little bit faulty. And he's fighting a young athletic guy who is capable of dealing some damage. And yeah, those things that make him him with the slickness and the agility and the
hmm
jukes and the smoothness, those tend to be the things that go first as you age. And he is no longer a young man. So you never know. We just saw. I don't know if you caught this one yet. We've been rewatching the fights from UFC Mexico this past weekend
Yeah,
because I was
yeah,
working late. But it worked for Bobby Green or King Green, excuse me. It worked for King Green.
yeah.
It was all there for him still, and he's an old dude. So, dude, you never
He's
know.
yeah, yeah.
He might find
He's
that
an old guy
guy
who's
out.
also been taking losses pretty hard recently too.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not
He's
trying
got
to say that
I think he's gotten a
he's the
few wins
poster boy
mixed in
for
there, but it's been a lot of rough
it.
losses.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I haven't gotten to watch that one. That's on my rewatch. I
You
have
should
that
watch
one
that
and
one.
then Brandon Moreno's fight. I got a rewatch left.
Same. Yep.
But yeah, absolutely. Either way, we are rooting for Cody. We're hoping he can get another W. Um, but unfortunately, time is not necessarily on his side.
No. If he
Moving on to
loses
the
this
main
one,
card.
whoop.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, moving on to the main card. The first fight we have Gregory Rodrigues versus Bruno Ferreira. this is, I mean, it's going to be a super fun fight. We got two sluggers. Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues, I think, is one of the guys that we've been kind of warming up to as he just kind of keeps
Yeah.
popping up, keeps showing up to fights, and always performing pretty well. What are your thoughts, Evan?
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. We've definitely been warming up to this guy. He's definitely been put on our radar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, it was that one time that when I first moved into here, and you were over helping me move, and I just had like that an empty room in the living room with a TV on the floor.
Yeah.
My dad was over, and we were just watching this guy fight Jared Cannonier,
Yep.
and we're like,
Oh
damn, this
man.
guy's crazy. These guys are nuts. And he's like that all the time. He's like
Mm-hmm.
tough as nails, absorbs a ton of damage, but just like keeps on
Yeah.
pushing. But isn't like a total, Marvin Vittori where he just plodding forward and does nothing. He's trying to
Right.
adapt. He's trying to make changes here and there, and he's
Right.
putting together a game plan, even if it's not like a Volkanovski level game plan. He's still going in
Right.
there and mixing it up and making an exciting fight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Guy he's fighting here, I would classify Brunno as more of a Marvin Vittori style game planner, where he's just, I'm walking forward at you, and I'm gonna throw really hard punches, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that will get me the win, and that's kind of it. So,
Yeah.
I would pick Gregory Hobelkop here, to get the win. I think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not too confident on that pick, but I'm rooting for him, and I think he has a solid shot here. He's a little bit more dynamic in his approach.
Right. And Bruno's not really much of a rush in his like coming at him. He kind of slowly will walk you down, not really like run at you, kind of blitz you,
Yeah,
which is an easy way to kind of overwhelm someone. So yeah, I definitely think I'm with you. I think Gregory Rodrigues is going to probably pull this one out. But either way, should be fun. Should be a great way to
it'd be
start
fun.
the
Definitely
card.
could get a firefight here. Definitely, there's a real chance of a big firefight, and I'm
Absolutely.
excited for that.
Absolutely. Uh, Moving on to the next fight, we have Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know too much about either of these guys. I remember Drew
Okay.
Dober a little bit, but what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Well, they're both interesting guys, actually.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested that they haven't fought each other yet. They've both been around for a really long time at this weight class. Um, Drew Dober is crazy athletic. Um, he's kind of one of those guys that has the look and the physique and the build and the power, um, and also kind of the fight IQ as well of someone you would expect would be like top five, and he just kind of
Mm-hmm.
isn't. He'll just lose fights here and there, um, get knocked out or get submitted, and it's just kind of like, damn, I really thought he would pull it together there and didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Um,
absolutely.
but that's okay. He's a very fun to watch guy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
his chin isn't always bulletproof. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but regardless, he's an exciting guy to watch and a genuinely cool guy. He trains out west in Colorado and
Mm-hmm.
has a really cool camp going on. And he's also like a commentator on local scene stuff as well.
That's super
So
cool.
yeah, cool guy. And then Michael Johnson has been around forever as well, and he's fought a lot more big name guys when you compare to
Mm-hmm.
Drew Dober. Drew Dober's been around a long time, but he's mostly fought not household name type of guys. Drew Dober, that is. More
True.
of like if you're a hardcore fan, you'll know the guys that he's fought. But you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but Michael Johnson's fought all kinds of stars in lightweight, a lot of recognizable names, and a very scrappy guy. Gets into I don't want to say wars every time, but gets into some wars for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's capable of dealing a lot of damage. He's capable of getting out of really tough situations, whether that's grappling or striking. He's very like slippery. Um, he tends to, kind of always fail against. I say this with respect, but he tends to kind of, not quite be there against the best of the best, which is like, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Against like legends, but against Drew Dober, should be a really good fight. This should be a really entertaining fight. I could see Drew Dober blasting through Michael Johnson at this age for Michael Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I could certainly see that happening. Um, because even though Drew Dober is a little bit advanced age wise as well, he still
Yeah.
has like insane athleticism. You know what I mean? Like think
Right.
Michael Chandler style. He still trains like a young monster.
Right. He
And
hasn't
looks the
lost his
part.
step yet.
Right. Yeah. Physically. Yeah.
Right.
But I could also see Michael Johnson surviving that first wave and putting a whooping on him later on.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew Dober sometimes can gas out a little bit, and then if he doesn't accomplish what he needs to accomplish round one, round two, I could see Michael Johnson pulling away and getting something sneaky on him. So, anyways, very excited to see this one. I don't really have a pick, honestly. I'm not really sure what to expect with this. Not sure the odds either, but curious to check them out.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, Michael Johnson, very slight favorite, minus 148.
Okay.
That kind of tracks. That kind of
Yeah.
tracks.
Just as a
But yeah, that'd
ability
be a
to
fun one to
outlast.
watch. That's an underrated one. If you're not tuned into either of these guys,
Same me.
understandable. But yeah, definitely one to check out. This will be a fun one.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, that'll be hopefully pretty fun. That'll be good. Good to kind of mix up the card a little bit. But moving on, we have Rob Font versus Raul Rojas Jr. Um, this is just an interesting one because Rob Font. He's a really good fighter, but also Raul Rojas has kind of had a little bit of an interesting rise, I guess, or
Yeah.
career in the UFC so far. What are your thoughts on the fight, Evan?
Yeah, they keep doing these fights, man. They keep doing a lot of these fights lately where
Yeah.
you have a really old experienced guy who's noticeably not just like is he possibly past his prime? They do
Mm-hmm.
these fights a lot where it's like, okay, we've clearly seen him take a few steps past his prime against
Yeah.
a young guy who are like we've clearly seen him not quite be fully formed yet. You know what I mean? Think like
Absolutely.
Chase Hooper fights. Um, this is another one of those.
Yeah.
Rob Font is not completely washed, but he's past his prime. Long time, tough East Coast boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Raul is more of a jiu-jitsu guy. Has skills everywhere, but more skilled in jiu-jitsu and chokes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm curious to. I mean, Raul. Well, we can talk about this as well. I think you have some notes on this, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious to see exactly where his ceiling is. I'm not really sure if he's just kind of his progress has not exponentially gone, but it's just kind of slowed a bit, but he's still getting better,
Mm-hmm.
or has he really kind of dealt the ceiling a little bit? You know what I mean? I don't know where that
Absolutely.
ceiling is, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm curious if we've kind of seen it a little bit already. Um,
Yeah.
and if that's the case, and you're underestimating, and I'm just speculating, but if that's the case, and he's underestimating Rob Font, and he's coming in here and he's like not grown enough,
Mm-hmm.
this will test him in that. And if you suck, Rob Font will mess you up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You can't just completely dismiss Rob Font ever. If
Yeah.
you suck and you're just walking into him and expecting to take him down easy peasy and choke him out, Rob Font will punch you in the face and mess you up. He's a tough as
Mm-hmm.
nails boxer. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I
Could
don't know.
could be real risky if Raul, shoots some shaky
Yeah.
takedowns.
But if he's
Might
on
might
his
get caught
game,
with the counter.
if he's on his game, then you could frame it a totally different way and think,
Yeah.
oh, UFC is setting him up for an easy submission.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Older guy.
Right. Exactly. You
That's
have
possible.
a mainly boxer going up against a grappler.
Yeah.
Theoretically, that's the blueprint for easy takedowns, which means easy ground control, which means easy win.
Right.
It's still, Rob Vaughn has the experience, so he's, dealt with grapplers, so it's not as if he's, unprepared for Raul, but either way, I think one of the interesting things I find out about this fight is just kind of what happened with Raul because when he came in, to the UFC, it felt like he came in with a lot of fire, a lot of just like, kind of momentum. Obviously, I think one of the main reasons is because of how young he was. I think at the time he was 18. He's
Crazy,
21 now. So he came in super, super young. And he only has one loss. That loss was his second fight in the proper UFC, because he obviously has a fight in Contender Series.
Yeah.
But he hasn't lost since. I know he's looked kind of 50-50. He hasn't looked spectacular in his UFC fights, but I mean, he's still, still winning, still got a good streak going. And I find it interesting that it's taken him this long, because Rob Font being in the top 15, this seems like it is Raul's shot to break in. And it feels like it should have happened a little earlier. And I was kind of looking up some other people who have recently broken into the top 15, who are kind of a part of that kind of rising, I don't want to say generation, but rising group of newer fighters. And one of the other of our favorite fighters that we always keep an eye on, Peyton Talbot, recently got his break into the top 15. And he roughly started about the same time as Raul Rojas. Actually, Raul technically started, he started probably like 6-ish months, I think, roughly earlier in the UFC. So it's kind of crazy that he didn't get in earlier shot to get into the top 15. So it makes you kind of feel like he's maybe lost a little bit of standing with the UFC, or it could be because of his age and because he has so much time to still grow. Maybe they wanted to keep him out of the top 15 because, once you're in the top 15, they kind of want you to perform and not drop out. Because when you jump in and then jump back out, they're not going to expect you to go back in.
That's true. That's a momentum killer. Yep, I agree with that.
So maybe that's the reason why. Maybe now they think he's there, but it just feels like for the momentum that he had, you would have thought that he would have pushed a little farther by now, would have at least already been in the top 15. So I don't know. It's interesting.
No, that makes sense. Curious about that as well, and that kind of ties back to what I was saying about his plateauing. I'm not saying he's plateauing, but I'm saying curious if he will begin to.
Right. It feels like there's some type of stalling happening.
Well, when he was initially, when he was first in the UFC, one of his things he would say would be, "I want to be the youngest ever UFC champion," because he started so young.
Yep.
And currently that record is held by John Jones, I believe. And now it's just like, okay, well, he's not going to be that. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit of a recalibration, I think, of expectations.
Right.
He's not going to be the youngest ever champ. But would he still be up there in the rankings? Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not a absolute phenom, but we'll see. We'll see how he grows. You know what I mean? He's still a young guy, but agreed. He's gonna have to make some steps up.
Yes. No, he definitely is. But yeah, I definitely think I agree with you, because he's where he's at this point, at this age, because he's already in the UFC so early, because he's already getting shots in the top 15 so early. He's going to be, unless there's some, cruel twist of fate, he's going to be in the UFC. We're going to be hearing his name for a while. It just depends on how high does he go? Where does he end up sitting? And that's just going to come with time. Probably, it's going to take even a couple more fights before we even get a clue about where he's going to end up. Either way, interesting fight to watch. Keep an eye on. Moving on, we have our co-main of the evening. We have Caio Borralho versus Reinier de Ridder. Sorry, apologies for the pronunciations. I am
pretty good
at it. But this one is a really intriguing fight, because both these guys are really had some pretty good momentum, and except for their last losses. Looking at where kind of Caio is, he was looking super great. I mean, part of kind of the Fighting Nerds, where they were all kind of surging at the same time, and then they all kind of hit a wall one way or the other.
Yeah,
his wall
that's very
unfortunately
true. That's
was
very true.
it was weird. It was all like in the span of like 3 months. They all like took a loss, and it just kind of like really
It
hurt,
popped the
really stung.
bubble a little bit because they were
Yeah,
just like rising to the blasting off to the moon. It's like, oh my god, these guys are untouchable. This is the phenom team of all time. And then it's like,
yeah,
oh shit, okay, they all
loss,
lost at
loss,
once. And
loss.
it's not the end of the world. It's not, but
No,
it's like, okay, they're human beings, all of them.
right.
So
This isn't some absolutely jacked out gym where we gotta like check it for drug testing or something like
right,
that. Yeah, but Caio, he had his loss to Nasruddin Imavov, who was himself has had a pretty decent rise in
oh
recent
yeah,
times. Um, and I actually did rewatch that fight, and I
oh
think
okay,
Caio looked decent. He definitely looked,
yeah,
beaten by Imavov, but I mean, it went to a decision. There wasn't a time where he looked like he was like super on the ropes, gonna get knocked out or finished. Um, so I think he's still. I think you're kind of in that. I think you're right where like the bubble kind of popped, but he's still there. He's still there.
he's still there. Yeah, and Imavov is such a phenomenal striker. So it's hard, it's
Yeah.
really impossible to look great against him when you're trading striking. And
Right.
I'll get into this a little bit later when I talk about their skill sets. But Caio, in comparison, isn't a born and bred striker. He learned
Mm-hmm.
striking later on, but grappling was his first game really, um, and he's good at both. But Imavov is just a lives and breathes striking
Yeah.
battles. So it was kind of it's not, I don't want to say it's an impossible task to beat him, but
Yeah.
um, it's just the way it went. You know.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Absolutely. Uh, moving on to kind of like where RDR is at. He was also on a similar tear,
Yeah.
just screaming his way up the standings a little bit there until he ran
Yeah.
into Brandon Allen, and he just looked it looked off.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Something was wrong.
His cardio was weird, and he just died after the first round. Like first round, he was
Yeah.
dominating, and then it went into the second round, and it just looked. I was like, "What?" This is another one I kind of rewatched. 'Cause I was curious about how it ended. It just like he just took longer and longer and longer to get back to his corner after the first round. It's just like something's not right.
Oh, for sure. And we
Yeah,
never got closure on what exactly that was. I looked
hmm
around a little bit somewhat recently about it.
yeah,
We never got like a final answer
mhm,
medically, but something was very obviously medically up with him that night.
yeah,
Obviously that's not how good of a fighter he is or was, but he fought super frequently leading up to that. He was really pushing his body. That could have been it. Add in the
mhm,
fact that he was pushing his body, making multiple weight cuts. That could have been part of it. Or maybe there was a different injury internally.
mhm,
That also is part of fighting often. Adding,
right.
stocking up the injury or piling up the injuries. You know what I mean?
Stocking up
Could have been
fatigue.
an organ thing. Could have been a muscle
Yeah,
thing. Could have been whatever.
yeah,
But obviously something was messed up. And
yeah,
I don't want to say like, oh, don't even worry about the fact that he lost. It doesn't even count. It counts, but
yeah. It
it
counts.
doesn't really take away from his uh, capabilities unless it's something that's persisting. And that's kind of my key question of this fight
Hmm.
is he fully back to normal? Will he be able to fight a full 3 rounds, no issues at
Hmm.
100%, like we know he can do? Um, because he's usually very physically imposing and grindy and tough and gritty. Is he able to do
Hmm.
that, or is he now forever magically hindered by whatever the hell this is? In
Yeah,
which case, shit, was a nice run. You know what I mean?
yeah. That would be a really tragic end to
That
his
would be
career
tragic as
if,
hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you. I think it's not necessarily red flags, super warning signals on RDR, but this is definitely a get right fight for him where even if he doesn't win, he has to show everybody that he's still in it, that he's, cardio wise, he's able to go through the fight. This will be a little bit easier for him because it is only a 3 round fight. His fight against Brendan Allen was a 5 rounder, so you know it should be a little easier for that. And even in that fight, he made it to the end of I believe the fourth round before he had the TKO call it. Um, so, you know, theoretically, even if he has a bad showing like that his last fight, he should still make it 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is, again, it's going to depend on how does he look through the fight is going to be the telling thing to us. Um,
Hmm.
Whether or not he wins or he lasts might be a different thing, but hopefully it'll be a little easier on him than the last fight was.
And
Uh,
the reason
yeah,
it's interesting is that both of these guys' potential is so large. That's why it's so interesting to find out what his condition is. Because, like you said, title aspirations.
yeah,
Um, you know what I mean? Like they're both so capable. So if he gets a get right fight, like you said, like this guy could be a champ. And you could say the same thing about
yeah,
Caio. So it's like if he's physically destroyed, RDR that is, if he's physically destroyed,
hmm,
damn, that is tragic, like we were saying, because it's tragic because of how good he could have been at the top. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Challenging these guys like Hamzat. So
hmm,
it's like it reminds me a little bit of damn, I hate to shit on my favorite fighters. But reminds me a little bit of Cheeto. But we just saw Cheeto
yeah.
fight this
You know,
past yesterday.
yesterday
Um,
at time of filming.
yeah, at time of filming this UFC Mexico, and I love watching Cheeto. I used to love watching Cheeto, I should say, and it
Hmm.
becomes this thing where it's like, okay, now we know he's gonna start too slow, and we always knew he started slow, but now we know
Yep.
he's gonna start too slow, and he's not gonna come back in
Right.
time. And he's not gonna make put enough pressure on and attack with full force, and we know we're gonna see him lose by decision because he's too tough to get knocked out, and we love that
Yep.
about him. But he's not going to put that pain on that we know he's capable of. So this is what's going to happen, and that's what happened. And that could be the fate of RDR if he doesn't. It's like we know that he's capable of being the best, but he does this weird thing now where his body fails him. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to, you know what I mean? I hope that's not the
Yeah.
case. Is my point.
Yeah.
But this is where we find out if it turns into a Cheeto thing, where it's like we know what this, we know what this tragic fate was, or
Yep.
it turns into a nope, that was just a fluke. This guy's championship level, and we are
Right.
excited to watch him fight champs. Because I'm excited to watch him fight Hamzat. I'm excited to watch him fight EDP or whoever.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
I mean,
That'd be great to see. There's so many fun matchups.
oh,
I hope we get to see him.
absolutely. I want both these guys to succeed. I would rather see both of either of them fight for the belt as opposed to who we're probably getting next, which is Sean Strickland, which sucks ass. He fought really well.
Yeah,
He fought really well in his last fight, but my God, do not like him as a person, and he is not a fun fighter to watch.
couldn't agree
Um,
more. Boring as shit.
Boring as shit and a bit of a piece of shit. So
Yeah,
yeah.
well said.
Um, either way,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Either way, it's interesting kind of what we're going into. They're both in interesting situations. Uh,
Mhm.
I think first thing we got to cover, we covered it a little bit, but how is Caio's game look going up against RDR?
Yeah, so Caio is an interesting fighter. Like we said, he's part of the Fighting Nerds.
Hmm.
He was a grappler first and he learned striking later. So he uses his striking to kind of set up his ground game and get into control positions where he can score points in rounds and then get a win. Excuse me. So I wouldn't say he has world class striking per se, but he's definitely naturally a very powerful guy. That helps him in his striking and in his grappling. His jujitsu is um, he uses his frame and his guns and his build to his advantage. And
Yeah.
RDR does as well, but they have very different looks to them. If you look at them side by side, you say, damn, these guys don't look physically the same at all, and they're not. And they use their frames to their advantage. So Caio is a little bit more top control style, a little bit
Hmm.
more squish you. He's got
Yeah.
a big he's got a very muscular chest, muscular shoulders, muscular arms, and in jujitsu, um, you can do things like um, be in their guard and be successful with that, or you
Sure.
can mount them and be successful in that, or you can be inside control and be successful in that. There's a lot of good top position stuff you can do, um, or just control you can do, and utilize the fact that you can squeeze or control limbs and
Right.
use that to your benefit. That's kind of the game that I played in jiu-jitsu because those were
Yeah.
also basically identically my strengths. And obviously very different level than Caio and very different size than
Yeah.
Caio, but relative to my size and my strength level, those were my proportional advantages as well. So I played pretty much the exact same game. On the
Yeah.
complete so that's kind of Caio's game.
Yeah.
It's kind of what he does. On the complete opposite side, you have RDR, who is very accomplished in pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing if they had just a strict Jiu-Jitsu match on the mats, not an
Mm-hmm.
MMA fight, I feel like RDR would win that match. Um, he is opposite in a lot of ways. These guys are similar in a lot of ways in the sense that they're both big, and they're
Yeah.
both good at grappling, but they're different in a lot of ways when you dive deeper into it. He's a little bit more sub hunter, like Charles Oliveira.
Yep.
Uh, Going for this sub. Oh, didn't work. No problem. I'll just transition into this sub. Didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. I'll just take the back. Bada boom. Stick my leg here.
Yeah.
Get a body lock. Boom. Now I'm trying to choke you out. And it's not about like squishing you or using my overwhelming power to control this and that and trap this and that. That's a skill too, but his skill is more like Charles, where it's oh, I'm gonna fucking do a front flip roll into this, and boom, now I've got your leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's got very long limbs. Um, Not really much of a bodybuilder type of look on RDR.
Kind of like Charles.
Kind of like Charles. He doesn't pack in a ton of muscle, and I think he probably doesn't train that way. I would assume. And that's fine. His long limbs help him do stuff like he could throw up a triangle in a very dangerous, aggressive way, or a rear naked choke. So and similar
Yeah.
again, that stuff I suck at. I've got relative to my torso, I have shorter legs, so it's much harder to throw up stuff like that and
Mm-hmm.
have it connect quickly. But RDR is
Yeah.
perfectly built for it, and he uses it really, really well. And he's accomplished in BJJ in and of itself. Like he has BJJ big wins before getting into MMA.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also, moving on from that, he's also very gritty, very tough. We've
Yeah.
seen him be really dangerous in the clinch, knees, elbows. He's a
Mm-hmm.
tough dude. And he loves to just get in there and be aggressive and make it sloppy, messy, nutso fight.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, that
yeah,
was
he's killer.
in his fight against Brendan Allen. Even though his, RDR's motor was running super, super low, and Brendan Allen was like in control most of the time. In that 20-minute fight, I'm pretty certain they were standing for less than 20 seconds of the fight. As soon as every round started, I think RDR basically was able to take Brendan Allen down, and then Brendan Allen was able to get control most of the time. But even though Brendan Allen was on top and getting control, which is something I think Caio probably has a potential for,
Oh, for sure.
there's a high probability, especially if RDR unfortunately might be struggling like his last fight. Um, RDR was still on the bottom pulling shit. Like he was
Oh
still
yeah,
on the bottom. He was working. He was
yeah,
moving.
yeah.
Like Brendan Allen wasn't just
Good point.
on top and then putting in damage. I'm trying to remember. I don't think he even got in a whole ton of damage while in control. He was just more of in control, on top of RDR and stopping him from pulling moves, which
Yeah,
is how he won the fight mostly. But RDR, yeah, like I said, even though he was on the bottom, he was making it messy. Like as you said, he was trying stuff. He was every now and then I was hearing Bisping being like, oh, he's got he's pulling this, oh, he's pulling that, oh, he's going for this, and it's like even though he was gassed, even though he was in danger, being dominated, he was still pulling
hmm
stuff, and so you can't
yeah,
really count him out.
yeah. I totally agree.
I think on that.
Let's see. So
Yeah,
on that note,
yeah.
what's your
Going
guess
to
for
the
the fight?
outcomes. Who? What are you thinking for this fight?
Oh, I think I could see the RDR sub. I could see it going to the
Mm-hmm.
grappling because they both love grappling, so it may just go there.
Yep.
And I could see RDR pulling off the sub against a Caio who is, I don't want to say content to just fight for control time because that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
diminishing. That's not really true.
Yeah.
But I could see him taking his time and moving from position to the next and relying on a bit more of that pace of grappling, whereas I could see RDR sneaking in a sub there and finishing him off. I could see
Hmm.
that happening for sure. Or I could see, especially if we see a diminished version of RDR, I could definitely see Caio getting a very grindy decision where he fights smart. If he
Hmm.
doesn't fight emotionally, he fights smart, and he makes enough space for himself, especially in the striking, being very careful, going to the ground on his terms. I could definitely see him getting the decision there, um, and using all of his tools. But you never know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's how he's going to fight it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, absolutely. I'm a little torn. Originally, my thought is RDR sub for the win.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but I'm also thinking, I mean, as I was kind of looking back and thinking back over like Kaio's past, he has not been finished. The only loss, I mean, I think he has two losses total, but like one's not in MMA. But like his only loss in MMA obviously was the decision to Imavov. Um,
Yeah.
so he's never been finished. So the thought of RDR subbing him doesn't seem super probable. However, I don't
Hmm.
think in the UFC at least he's gone up against a grappler as talented as RDR.
Yeah.
So if RDR is in peak form, he could be dangerous in a way that Caio isn't really used to in his competitive fights. So I think I might still stick with an RDR sub or maybe
Okay.
RDR decision win. Um, but I think with you, I think there's a good chance Caio can grind out a decision win,
Yeah.
um, especially if RDR is still suffering from whatever he was in his last fight.
Suffering from success.
Yep,
Shout out
suffering
DJ
from
Khaled.
success. That's all it is. Yep, absolutely.
Well, I'm
Uh,
blown away by the odds on this one, actually, real quick
yeah,
here,
what are
and then
the
we'll
odds?
move on to the move on. I am very surprised to say that as of right now, Caio is a minus 310 favorite. RDR is a plus 250 dog. Lot of faith in Caio here, and
Yep,
also could be a lot of
doubt in RDR.
questions. Yeah, doubt questions about RDR's condition,
Absolutely.
which is very valid.
Yeah,
Very valid. We haven't seen anything to prove otherwise as of yet, so we'll have to see.
absolutely. Well, depending on who wins or who loses
Yeah.
for this RDR versus Caio fight, who do you think, or what do you think is next for the winner?
I think the winner probably will fight for the belt, but I think that they're
Okay.
going to wait and they'll have to wait till Strickland gets his shot, or possibly Imavov gets his shot. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. Maybe they'll give it to Strickland.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely louder. Sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the oil or whatever the hell.
No. Yeah.
Um, so I think that it could be Strickland next, or it could be Imavov perhaps. It's possible that they make the winner here fight Imavov to get a shot or
Mm-hmm.
some shit like that. Kind of silly, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the belt is in the cards for sure here.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know that it's going to be next. You know what I mean?
Nope. I agree with you. I think I almost perfectly agree with you. Um, I don't know if I think Strickland gets the next shot, but I think personally, I think the winner's gonna fight either Fluffy Hernandez or Izzy. Um,
Interesting.
I know it's a little interesting. I think kind of with what you're saying, I think they're one fight away, and I just
Yeah.
think fighters like Imavov, Strickland should be DDP are probably they're in that they get one of them will get the next shot.
Mhm.
So I think you probably do one more fight with them, and then they might get like a jump over. I don't know if the UFC will have them fight a Strickland and Imavov. I think, as you said, I think Strickland very much wants his next fight to be for the belt. He's kind of very much all right, I'm going to do one fight, and then I want the belt if I win that fight. And that's kind of how he operates.
Yeah.
Imavov, I think, has just been moving up, and I think Imavov also is probably due a shot and probably could get, should get a shot against Hamzat. And then I think DDP, I mean, he is the number one contender. He recently was the champion, just lost to Hamzat. I think he always has hey, I deserve another shot. Whether or not you necessarily think that, I think he has the arguments there. Either way.
Yeah. I like Dustin.
So
got to make my mandatory one remark about Dustin
like
Poirier
Dustin.
per episode. Kind of like Dustin. He's always he's always one fight away. He's always one fight away because he's so successful, because he's so dangerous. Always one fight away, but also similar with Dustin. You know that the grappling gap was so exposed on Dustin actually
So
put
bad.
up a grappling fight against Islam. I can't say that. But we know that DDP's grappling got exposed so badly that it just doesn't make sense to put him back in there anytime soon unless that gap gets fixed. So, or the champ is different. So, yeah. Anyways, on to this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're all up there in the mix, and be interesting to see kind of how it fleshes itself out. But it's fun that there's people all up there.
Absolutely, yeah. There's new people in middleweight fighting. It's not just Izzy, DDP, and Strickland all fighting each other, and then Alex thrown in there every now and then. So, yeah, I kind of like that. What do you think is next for the loser of this fight?
I think Fluffy makes sense to me. You were saying for the winner. I think for the loser, honestly, Fluffy just had a pretty decided KO loss against Strickland. You know.
Yeah.
So I think he's out of the running for the title in my mind at the moment. So this makes sense for the loser of this to fight him in my mind. What about you?
I do like that for the loser. I think honestly it could be the same. It could just be Fluffy and Izzy. It's just like it's winner or loser. One fights one fights the other. I think both of them are kind of in the similar spot.
Pfeiffer, though.
I know I do like that one. Here's my pitch.
If Izzy loses against Joe, then he's in a totally different stratosphere at this point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean? If Izzy loses to Joe, he's bottom top 10.
Pfeiffer then.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
That's the assumption on that one. I'm just going off of where they're at right now. Yeah. Sure. But here's my pitch. Loser of this fight's presuming a win by RoboCop, they fight Gregory Rodriguez to get him moving up. This is my Dominic Reyes. This is it.
This is my guy now. I like it.
This is my guy for the year, Gregory Rodriguez. He's moving up.
He's been putting on a show. Hell yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm down.
He's been producing.
I'd watch it.
Yeah. I think there's a good shot because he's here. He's on the card. If he wins, there's probably a good chance he'd be. Hey, the loser of this fights him. Their training, their camp times will line up really evenly. So I think it's possible.
He deserves a bigger name at this point if he can mess up.
If he gets the win, yeah, I definitely agree. Moving on though to the main event of the evening, the BMF title fight, Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. This is
Are you sick of the BMF thing yet? Are you sick of it yet?
Yeah. It just because there's only one, and it's not like a BMF for each division, essentially, it just doesn't make sense. It's weird that it hopped weight classes. It feels weird. I just do not like it.
It's definitely a marketing play, and I think it's a tired marketing play at this point.
Yes,
I get it, and it kind of applies to both these guys loosely. So sure,
absolutely.
I get it in that sense, but it's like I'm over it. I feel like most people are over it.
Yeah,
I'm excited for them to hang this belt up for good.
I definitely agree with you. But going into the fight a little bit more into the weeds here. How is Max Holloway looking?
Max Holloway is looking as good as he has ever looked, and that is saying something because he used to be a champ. So I think physically at featherweight, that is, at lightweight, this is where he belongs now for sure. Dude, he's one of the most accomplished fighters there is. I think he looks incredible. Yeah. Physically, he looks great. Stylistically, he's looking just as good as ever. He's always adding more layers to his striking. Dude looks phenomenal.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I will say I think my only thing with Max right now is it feels like he's kind of. I was thinking of an analogy of who could I tie this to? And I think I found it. It feels like he's kind of in an MVP, Michael Venom Page situation, where it feels like he's fighting for the big fights. He's not necessarily going for the belt anymore. At least some of his few fights, like he fought Dustin, that doesn't really. I mean, it was a great fight, really cool fight, really meaningful fight. Doesn't really advance him. This fight against Charles, I mean, even the fight against Justin Gaethje, when I think his first fight, I don't really feel like beating Justin Gaethje for him was like okay, now he needs to go fight for the belt, and it didn't go that way because his next fight after that was Dustin, so it's not really didn't really feel like it advanced him in that goal. So that's one of the things I kind of want to see, probably more from this upcoming week, the fight week leading up, as opposed to like the actual fight itself, is I want to see where is Max, where is his goal, where is his aim, because it just kind of, again, my interpretation of it is it kind of just feels like he's there for the big fights, which is what the BMF belt is for,
right?
But I just don't feel like he's in the hunt for a belt, kind of as we're looking
either. Yeah. And maybe he doesn't care, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have an answer for you a little bit.
Sure.
And a little pushback. I think that beating Justin was huge in that it set him in the rankings firmly in lightweight. And I think that being Dustin, I agree, not the most great of a line trajectory-wise, but still a great win. I think that those two wins, maybe this feeds into it. I think those two wins, even though they're phenomenal and they're top-ranked guys, they're both strikers, and he's a striker. So perhaps the idea here is that would he be able to beat like Arman or Islam has moved up, but Islam we haven't seen
Patty, another good grappler in the top 10.
Sure.
Obviously Charles.
So my point is this could be a little different. I mean, Charles is obviously a super dangerous grappler, so seeing him get choked out against Charles would kind of feed into your maybe he's not really trying to be fighting for a belt,
Right.
If you can't do that. But seeing him keep Charles on the feet, fight on his terms would, in my opinion, be more of a statement to be like, I can do this. That being said, it's also a little tricky to say about fighting for the belt because the belt holder right now, well, technically the interim belt holder is Justin.
Yeah.
He beat, which is screwy.
Yeah.
But the actual champ technically is Ilya, even though he's absent right now. And Ilya has a win over Max, a decidedly brutal KO win over Max. But then it's like, does it change at 155? Maybe. I don't know. It's a big mess, to be honest with you.
No, I completely agree. I think it is a mess, and I do have thoughts on that if we're when we go to cover about what happens to the winner and loser of this fight.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get into it, but
I think that's definitely like a big question of this fight is kind of what's the point of this fight. Unfortunately.
Valid.
Yeah. Moving on from Max though, where's Charles at going into this fight?
Charles Oliveira still has it.
Mm-hmm.
Still has all his tools to deal damage and pull off subs. He's still a super dangerous guy. He's definitely getting a little bit older, but I think he hasn't fully has his chin cracked yet. I think his game plan still basically works. His overall strategy of I get hurt a little bit, I get clipped a little bit, but I still have my wits about me. I'm going to drop to my butt and be ready to pull guard or be ready to fight in guard. Be ready to throw up kicks. Play that game for 10 seconds. Get forced back to my feet. Whatever. I'm good. That strategy still, for the most part, works against most people. I think on this note, I think it should work okay against Max. Max isn't going to jump on him like a monster-looking sub. Max can play a solid jiu-jitsu game, but doesn't usually have to use it. So, long story short, I think he still got it. At least for now.
Heck yeah. I'm a little more skeptical of Charles than you are going into this fight. I just think, Ilya's a monster, but Charles had a bad loss to Ilya. That knockout was nasty. And I think we said it in the run up to Ilya versus Charles, in that Charles is really goadable. GOAD,
Mm,
goadable, in that it's
yeah.
really easy to get him to stay on the feet. He is much better on the ground than he is on the feet. He's not bad on the feet. He's good. He's really good on the feet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's really easy to kind of get him to be like, no, I'm going to stay on the feet. I'm going to keep standing and banging when he probably should
Agreed.
go to the ground. And
Agreed.
I think that's kind of what really got him with Ilya. Obviously, Ilya does have really good wrestling, really good defense for that.
Sure.
And he wasn't, and Ilya wasn't going to fall into the trap of, okay, I'm going to go to the ground with with Charles,
Charles.
and
Yeah.
try to grapple him. He wasn't doing that. He's like, no, I'm going to knock him out.
Yeah.
My worry is going into this fight with Max. Uh, is that knockout going to affect him? He's had time to recover, but
Oh yeah, plenty of
Max.
times. He beat
Oh
Gamrot
yeah.
in that time.
Oh, that's right. He did beat Gamrot.
Yeah.
I forgot. I completely forgot about the Gamrot fight.
He
Never
subbed
mind.
Gamrot. He subbed
Yeah.
Gamrot.
Yeah. Never mind.
Um,
Either way.
but he didn't take a lot of strike damage in that fight, so
Yeah.
which is different. Which is different. To your point, I'm still salvaging your point here.
Yeah.
He didn't get
Still.
beat up on the feet by Gamrot. That's a lot different than fighting Max Holloway.
Yes. Yeah. Gamrot's a different fighter than Max Holloway. Max Holloway, as we kind of been saying, has been gaining that strength, gaining that knockout power. Um,
Definitely stronger. Definitely stronger
yeah.
now.
It could be a rough one for him, and at least for me, I'm just thinking. I don't know how many more fights Charles is going to have. Um, I guess I'm really still pulled to the Ilya fight, and I completely
Dude, that's fair.
am
That's fair.
overthinking the
He
Gamrot
rocked his
fight.
brain. No, he rocked his brain.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's valid.
I'm just really thinking, how many more, how much longer is Charles going to keep going for the belt? If he loses, obviously we're going to into repercussions. If he's losing this fight, how much longer he's going to go? Because losing this fight might take him out. So I think he's in a very. This is a more pivotal fight than you might think for
Yeah.
Charles.
Okay.
In that, yeah, I think he's kind of in a similar spot with where Dustin was when he retired, where it's kind of like, and just where Justin is right now, where it's like, I want to fight for the belt. If I can no longer fight for the belt, it might be it. Might be curtains.
Yeah. Which
Is
makes perfect sense.
Oh, absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just one of those things where we're kind of watching these fights with Charles and being like, when is the last one coming?
Yeah.
Which is good that he's still performing well. We're not seeing like a Tony Ferguson,
Right. No. Yeah.
Anthony Smith, where it's like we're watching them fall out. But
Yeah, and it's tough to watch. No, he's still near the top of the food chain for sure.
absolutely,
But
absolutely, he still
I hear
deserves to be
you.
in top five. But
I hear you though. Yeah.
yeah, well, with that, going into kind of how their games, how their
Yeah.
styles kind of match up. How is Max's game going to help him in this fight, or is it going to go?
Yeah, so Max's game has been consistent for a long time in his career, but it's adjusted a little bit now that he's moved up to 155 at lightweight. He's always been a great volume boxer. Just all around, his boxing is fantastic in so many aspects. But he now has a bit more power at 155, and I know that he has more power because of his fight with Dustin. He was able to buzz Dustin multiple
Mm-hmm.
times in that fight. And Dustin is tough as nails, and so buzzing him is a really big deal. Or ringing his bell, or however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Making the opponent concerned and have to, take a step back here and there, getting their respect, that's a huge deal. And it's going to play into this fight massively. As will his ability to have excellent spacing offensively and defensively, fight on his terms. He's so good at that. And again, when we talk about what you were saying, where Charles is goadable into a boxing match or a
Yeah,
kickboxing match or a Muay Thai fight, whatever you want to call it,
yeah,
striking on the feet, Max's power makes that now dangerous for Charles. Even though Charles has a ton of firepower as well in his strikes,
mm-hmm.
Max now does too. He's not just a volume puncher,
Right.
which you could say he was in certain fights in the past at 145. You could make that argument.
Mm-hmm.
As great as he is, and as legendary as he is, you could say that a weakness would have been lack of finishing ability. Now, that's not necessarily the case. He didn't finish
Mm.
Dustin, but Dustin is so impossible to finish on the feet.
One of the tougher guys, yeah.
One of the tougher guys to finish for sure. And he could have finished Dustin if Dustin would have been more reckless. To be fair, Dustin's just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't having it. Wasn't gonna get finished in his last fight. So fair enough.
Which I get.
But
I get.
yeah. So, anyways, that power plays into things now. He could buzz Charles big time and possibly get a KO on him.
Yeah.
But that's his
No,
game
I
in
completely
general.
agree.
He does have jujitsu. We never get to see it. A
Yep.
lot like Ilya. He much prefers to fight in the feet.
Yeah.
That's his
No.
primary game.
Absolutely. I think it's yeah. As long as they're on the feet, I think he's going to be dangerous. It's going to be
Yeah.
an interesting time. It's still going to be a fun fight either way. But how do you think Charles's game is going to affect the fight?
Yeah. So Charles, um, his striking is based upon the gym that he goes to, Shootabox Gym. It's kind of like Muay Thai. It's just kind of like a variation of Muay Thai. So it's super aggressive. A lot of bows, a lot of knees, very stabby kicks, um,
Mm.
a lot of activity in the clinch, a ton of activity in the clinch. He doesn't mind the clinch at
Yeah.
all.
No.
He's a very, very dangerous striker. His hooks, his straights are dangerous as well. It's kind of like a funny distribution of skills because you would think like, oh, this guy is the guy who submits everybody, and he's like crazy submission artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he must not be that great at striking, right? His specialty is submissions. No, actually, he's great at striking as well. He's
Yeah.
super
Absolutely.
dangerous in both, actually,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
which is kind of hard to believe, but it's true.
Yeah.
He can absolutely drop people. So and he doesn't mind doing it as well. His game is kind of based upon the fact that he doesn't mind the firefight whatsoever. He just kind of blasts the gas pedal immediately and stays on it the whole fight, which makes his fights incredible. And tying back into how it works with Max's game, Max doesn't mind that as at all. He loves getting into
Yeah.
those exchanges unless he feels strongly outmatched power wise. Then he'll use his movement to keep things on his terms.
Right.
As for Charles's grappling, think RDR style in the sense that he loves to aggressively hunt subs, transition from this position to that position, hurt you in the transition, and then attacks a sub here, attacks a sub there. His
Mm.
jiu-jitsu is very, very well adapted to MMA. It is built for MMA the way he plays jiu-jitsu. Um, and by that, I just mean he's built to wear you out. It's built to mess you up, to hurt you. Um, he leaves gaps in his limbs and his places where he can have a free hand just to uh, punch people in the face, to punch him in the body. He's built this whole game around being able to also punch and also elbow you, and you know what I mean. It's like a
Right.
perfect
Yeah.
blend of jiu-jitsu and MMA.
Right.
So he's an incredible guy. He's a very dangerous guy as well, and yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's a fun game that he plays for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I know I've been more negative on Charles, and that's probably not going to stop as we're talking about the outcome of this. But uh, I'll say you can't be in the top five of the lightweight division for as long as he has in the lightweight division that it has been since while he's been in there, and not
Yeah.
have good striking. I mean,
Oh,
talk
true.
got Justin Gaethje, you got Dustin Poirier, Islam was up there. I think he had Khabib. I think he was there with Connor a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
so you know what I mean? Like just while he's been in the top of lightweight division, there have been impressive strikers. So he does have really good striking.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. But speaking on that, going into the outcome of this fight, Evan, who do you think is going to win?
I could see Charles getting a sub if he can. If they tie up, and Max wants
Mm-hmm.
to throw down like he often will do, if he gets him into a throwdown contest and or Charles can trip him and get him down and
Mm-hmm.
start doing his brutal grappling masterclass against Max. I could see Max getting subbed out that way. Um, Alternatively, I could totally see Max using this newfound power 155 and straight up KOing Charles. I could totally see it. We know that Charles has a not a granite chin. We know that. We know that he goes to his butt when he gets buzzed. We see it every fight. It's not. I'm not talking shit on that strategy at all. Works great for him.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I got dangerous as hell up kicks, and I can just sit here and do this, and I know I can. You're not going to come into my guard because I will mess you up in here.
Yep.
And he gets a second, he recalibrates, he gets back to his feet. But Max is such a dangerous striker now. I could see him doing some insane damage to Charles, and we know Charles is apt to be willing to engage in those exchanges on the feet. So I could see Max getting a KO at some point. They got plenty of rounds to do it, so I could see that happening as well. If I had to pick one way, either way, damn man. It's tough to say. Maybe Max. Maybe Max with the win, but I don't know. Shitty answer, but I don't know. What do you think?
It is kind of a shitty answer, but it's tough. I agree with you. It's tough. Both these guys are great guys. They're fun fighters.
True.
It's really hard to pick against either of them. I think that being said, I think I've made my opinion known. I think Max is going to win. If not by KO, I think by decision.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think it's going to happen.
Okay.
But either way, it's going to be an incredible fight. And I think it's going to be a pretty fun card overall. And this is going to be a nice little topper on the night, I think. Going from that after
the odds are with you. Max is a favorite as of right now. So.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of rough for Charles, but hey, you never know. That's one of the nice things about Charles is you never know. Anything can happen. But going into this, depending on who wins and who loses, what do you think is going to happen next for the winner?
Jeez. I don't know, dude. What a mess this whole thing is. They got to get Ilya back in there. They got to figure out this interim bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Justin's on his very last leg as well in terms of what he's willing to put in, which is understandable with his tenure. So, damn. I have no idea. I think, unfortunately, the winner of this has to wait. And that sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything's guaranteed for the winner of this. Armin should wait for his shot at the title. It's so necessary for him to fight for the title at this point.
Yeah.
But it should be against Ilya.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that maybe it depends on how soon Ilya's coming back, but if Ilya can come back in a reasonable amount of time and then get that fight done with Justin, then I guess you could say Armin, but then it's just like, what the hell for Armin? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, it sucks for Armin. Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that. I think it's title fight if Ilya's not back. I think they should have Armin fight Justin. For that, because Armin, if he's not getting the title shot, he deserves the interim title shot.
But defending the interim is stupid, though. Come on.
Oh, no. Defending the interim is completely ridiculous. It was ridiculous when Tom did it. It shouldn't be happening. I agree. But if there is going to be a title defense by Justin, it's hard not to say that either Charles or Max deserve it. I think, especially if it's going to be Justin's last fight, because if he loses the interim title, he might retire. I think that'd be one hell. Either Charles or Max, I think, would be a hell of a way to send Justin off if that's his send-off fight. You know what I mean? I think that would be a much funner fight.
For sure. Yeah. Justin versus Max would be well, they've already fought. But it would be an epic rematch. I think he would do better in the rematch with an intact nose. I think that'd be an epic fight for him to try to get that one back. I gotta say, I'm not interested in seeing Justin lose to Charles again.
Fair.
To be honest. He got messed up so damn bad. It was back and forth. It was an insane first round.
Yeah.
But the way he got absolutely destroyed once it hit the ground, it was. I mean, it was
Yeah.
first round sub, I believe. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't want that fight either, to be honest.
No. I mean, would you rather fight Charles or fight Armin if you're Justin?
Oh God, neither. Neither,
He'd rather fight Patty again.
There's no way he wants to fight either one of those dudes. He wants
Yeah.
to try to fight
Yeah.
Ilya and try to get that undisputed belt for sure. That's what's on his mind.
I agree.
What's on his mind.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
And I don't think he can do it, to be honest with you. But
Mm-hmm.
um,
Here's my big unfortunate roadblock. Depending on who wins, doesn't matter who wins, is that Ilya has a reputation of not wanting rematches with people he's beaten. When he was the featherweight champion, he didn't want to fight Volk again. He didn't want to fight Max again. He didn't want to fight anyone because that's just kind of how Ilya was going. But that's going to be one of the potential issues with this fight, and one of my big hangups as to why I'm not the biggest fan of. I feel like this fight is going nowhere. Is that both of them have lost to Ilya?
Yeah.
Does Ilya want to fight either of them? Is the UFC going to be able to force him to fight the winner of this if they continue on, whatever?
Yeah. I get it. He's so much like Conor McGregor in the sense that he wants to always do things on his terms, and sometimes it works out for him. So I guess you got to respect that a little bit.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, he's just hung up on this fight with Islam that doesn't seem to be happening. Islam's moved up to 170 now, and looks like a 175-pound fighter. And there's no way Ilya
Islam's
can
not going back
compete
down.
with that size.
No.
Islam's not going back down, I don't think.
No.
I think you totally
He has no
right.
reason
Just like
to.
Ilya's not going back down. He has no reason to either.
No.
Exactly.
Absolutely
So what
not.
the hell are they going to do? A catch weight at 160 for no reason, for no belt? No, dude, I don't think so. I think in Ilya's itching to say like, oh, I only have one or two more fights, and then I'm going to become a world-class boxer or whatever. It's like, I guess, but like from the MMA fans' perspective, it's like, dude, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's so incredibly talented.
Conor McGregor did whatever he wanted, and he just kind of effed off to do drugs for a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool, you can do whatever you want, and I'm not saying like you can't or it's gonna make you broke, because Conor McGregor's not broke. But I will say it's not fun for the fans of MMA to go on and fight nobody and do nothing. We want to see the matchups. We want to see you take on this guy, that guy, and the different challenges that play out. That's the fun of it. So doing nothing isn't really fun for anybody. So I hope that Ilya will play the game and be a 155-pound champ and take on a 155-pound Max, which is a new challenge. I legitimately think Max would be a much greater challenge against Ilya at 155. I really do think so. I don't think that's just me fanboying over Max. I really think that he is much more dangerous at 155, and that the cut to 145 hindered him a lot. I think he'd put up a much better fight and survive longer, if not make it extremely competitive. Anyways, it's a bit of a messy situation.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I will also say this is all me catching random stuff of like Dana White and other people talking about it, but yes, Conor McGregor was a bit of a diva. However, from my understanding, he also was always down to fight anyone. He was never like, I don't want to fight this person. Outside of very recently with the Michael Chandler shit, that was, I think that's more steroid related over anything else. More of he knew he couldn't pass the drug test, so he was just dragging it out.
Didn't do it.
But
that's fair.
From all accounts, everything I've heard, Conor McGregor, when he was coming up and becoming champ, whatever, he was never I don't want to fight this guy. He was always just from what I heard, pick up the phone, he'd always say, who am I fighting? Right? He's very much just I'll fight
That's what
whoever.
I've heard as well. And obviously, I don't know. But that's what I've heard as well. Which is seemingly the opposite of Ilya. So that's a good point.
Yeah. But I definitely get you in that you don't want them to drag it out. Because that's what he did at featherweight. Ilya was very much sitting there like, I don't want to fight anyone. No one's worth fighting, which could have been true. He's incredibly talented. But yeah, in the role of fighting, you gotta do fights. Um, Either way,
That's in the name of the job. Yeah.
absolutely, it's gonna be a rocky road for the winner. What do we think
Yeah.
is gonna happen to the loser of the BMF fight?
I think our thoughts are very similar. Um, I think there's still plenty to do, but there's
hmm
not a belt maybe ever for either if they lose.
Ooh. Okay.
But still fun fights to make. There's a lot of fun strikers for Max to match up with.
Yep.
Raphael for sure. I would love to see him fight Raphael.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'd love that.
I'm not saying that the rankings perfectly match up or anything. I'm just
No.
saying, hey, he lost and he lost,
Yep.
and what a sick ass fight that would be.
hmm
Mauricio Hoofy, that'd be a sick ass fight as well. But definitely, especially Raphael, in my mind, both can throw a lot of volume and
hmm
super dynamic. Have a really deep striking skill set.
Yeah.
That's more of a wish list type of fight, but um,
hmm
as for Charles, I don't know, man. I don't even know.
Yeah.
He might retire.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
it's possible.
I mean that's what I
Just
think.
don't know.
Yeah, I think he's I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that he said kind of like in Dustin where he's like, if I'm no longer in contention for the belt, I do not want to fight anymore.
Okay, wow, I could see
And
that from him.
kind
He's
of similar
obsessed
for
with the belt.
Justin.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feels like that's his thing because he's up in the top 3 because he's constantly in the talks for the belt.
yeah,
I think he's still fighting. I think as soon as he drops down, he'll I mean same with Justin,
it's
right?
there.
I think those 3 were all in
Same
the
with
same
Justin.
belt. It's kind of like as long as
Yep,
we're in the running for the belt, we're staying in. As soon as we're no longer in the running for the belt, we're done.
yep.
Um
And I think that that's distinct from Max. I think that Max does not have quite that
yeah.
same mindset. And to your
No.
point earlier, what are his goals? That's a pretty
Yeah.
relevant question here.
Mhm.
I have no idea, but my guess is that he doesn't really have that exact same mindset. I think he's very
Yeah.
content to just compete and highlight reel and
Mhm.
be successful
Yeah.
in and of its own right.
Absolutely.
And
Um
I just say that to say I don't necessarily think he would retire if he lost or got subbed. I think he'd
no.
keep going.
No, I don't think so at all. Um, I think for Max, I think I agree with you. I think I would love a Rafael Fiziev Max Holloway fight. That'd be super
Hell yeah.
fun. I think unfortunately Rafael has
Hell
not
yeah.
been doing well enough to deserve a fight with Max.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Uh, Unfortunately, as much as I love Rafael, I definitely also agree Mauricio Rufy would be really fun, or Dan Hooker. Surprised you didn't say Dan
Ooh,
Hooker because you really like Dan Hooker. That was my
I
first thought.
do.
Was I'm like, if Max
Didn't
loses,
even think about it.
that is a great fight for Dan Hooker as well
Oh
because
yeah,
it's a big boost, a big name for Dan Hooker if he could get the win
huge.
to get him back into the top 5.
And Dan Hooker's so effing tough on the feet. You know, he lost because he got out grappled, right? Against
Mm-hmm.
Armin.
Mm-hmm.
Like brutally out grappled. And he's a okay
Brutally.
grappler, but Armin's a monster wrestler. World class.
Absolutely.
So dude, Max is gonna be a stand and bang guy, which is like,
Yeah.
it makes me remember Dan's fight with Dustin, where it's just like Dan's so tough, like inhumanly tough on the feet. He's just
Mm-hmm.
so hard to put away, and he's gonna still
Yeah.
throw dangerous damage back at you. So you got to be tough as
Yeah.
nails, and Max is tough as nails. So that would be
Absolutely.
just such a fun matchup. Damn, I'm
It'd be
surprised
such
I
a
didn't
fun
think
fight.
about that.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
fun one.
Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is the a little bit younger, earlier in his career, Justin Gaethje. I feel like they're very, very similar. And
A
so,
little.
yeah, Max versus Dan Hooker would just be the Max versus Justin Gaethje fight. It'd be very similar to
I'm,
that.
I'm down. I'm down.
It'd be so fun. It'd be such
I'm
fun.
down. I'm very down.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Um, Either way, I think it's gonna be a fun fight. Looking forward to it.
Mhm.
Hoping for just a fun fight. I'm
Yeah,
really hoping it doesn't go just like one round and then it's over, something like that. I would like to see both of them
totally
put
agree.
in some work, show their stuff. You know, I'd rather see that than a quick fight for me.
Actually,
Um,
totally agree.
yeah. Well, with that, that is the end of the card. So we're going to go on to our favorite fighters for the weekend. So,
Yeah.
Evan, who are your 3 favorite fighters going into UFC 326?
Yeah, ascending order. Let's say RDR.
Yep.
And again, we've talked about all these guys already on this episode, but
Yep.
yeah, he's a really exciting guy, man. He goes in for the
Mm-hmm.
action. He goes in to make it gritty and tough and grindy, and throws a whole lot of damage at you, and throws a whole lot of submission attempts at you. And it makes for a
Absolutely.
really fun watch. He kind of came out of nowhere, and he's been a really fun addition to the roster. And I'm definitely rooting for him to um, get his health back in check here and be at full power for sure. So fun dude to watch. Hopefully that he is just as fun as ever. Then Charles, lots to say about Charles, but we've already said a lot. Similar to RDR in a couple aspects, in the sense that he throws a total ton of damage at you, super dangerous everywhere, and super accomplished jujitsu. Um, his jujitsu is a little bit more a MMA style, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Less traditional.
yeah, yeah, just so fun to watch him step on the gas pedal as he always does. You know, the
Absolutely.
bell rings, round one, dude's ready to kill you.
Yep. Yep.
One of the most, honestly, one of the most fun people to watch out there in UFC today. And then Max, uh, one of my favorite fighters out there, honestly, on the whole roster at this point. Just such an awesome guy. Can't say enough great things about him. Ton of good sportsmanship, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool to see him be at 155 now. I'm really glad he moved to 155. I think
Yeah.
I'm
Really
gonna say I
am.
wish he would have done it a little bit sooner when he was. I don't want to say he was stalling out against Volk, but he
Yeah.
clearly Volk had his number at that weight class.
Yeah.
But this seems like really where he should be. His physique has evolved for sure a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, boxing looks as good as ever. I'm excited to watch him again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, for my 3
You got
favorite fighters for the weekend going into 326, I'm going to start with my number 3 is Gregory Rodrigues. We've
hmm
kind of been saying it. He's just been kind of warming up to us because he's just
yeah.
in every pay per view. He's just always there. He's always fighting. So I really want to see how he can do it. See if he can get a good, you know, good showing, and maybe even this year a good push into some of the higher rankings. Second one is Raul Rojas Jr. Um, this is his shot to get into the rank, to get ranked. I'm always a proponent of watching kind of the new guard show up and kind of get fresh guys into the rankings and into contention. So I'm really hoping
hmm
his
Yeah.
career doesn't kind of stall any more than it seemingly has, at least to me. So I'm really hoping for a win for him and hoping to see him ranked come
Yeah.
this time next week or next Tuesday. Uh,
hmm
and my number one, Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Such a fun dude, such a fun fighter. It's gonna be such a great headliner. I'm just so excited for that
Yeah.
more than
As am
anything
I.
else. Yeah.
As am I.
Um, yeah, but those are gonna be my 3 favorite fighters. With that though, this has been our favorite fighters for UFC 326. I've been Connor.
This is Evan. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Make sure to check us out on social media. We appreciate all the love so far, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.